Good morning, brothers and sisters. Have you shouted for joy yet? How about you shout for joy for yourself? We should appreciate ourselves, but still we have to exercise our faith when we draw near God. He is invisible, but when we draw near Him and pray to Him, do you know how happy is the Father's heart? Though we cannot see God, but we deeply trust that Abba, the Lord, are so real. So we shall come before Him happily. On the other hand, we also trust that Abba and the Lord loves us so much. They really want to bless us so that we have such faith to draw near Him. God is very happy and He welcomes us very much. So you shall clap your hands for yourself every day. We draw near God every day to please Him every day. And you will be nourished for sure, for He is the gracious God. How about we sing a hymn together? It's in God's Family Hymnal, the 9th, Song 39, Live by Faith. For there is no English version, so we'll read the translation.
By faith, turn from weakness into strength. By faith, shut the lions' mouths. By faith, extinguished all flaming darts of the enemy. By faith, I speak. By faith, out of his heart will flow rivers. By faith, to accomplish the great things. By faith, singing and praising. By faith, glorify God. By faith, receive the promises. By faith, to see God's glory. By faith, receive the abundant supplies. By faith, shall never thirst. By faith, have the exceeding joy. By faith, enjoy the perfect peace. By faith, God delights in us. By faith, walk with the Lord.
Do you have the same feeling as mine after singing this hymn? That is to be the one who is full of faith, to endure to the end, to trust till the end. The effect of faith is really amazing. The contents in the hymn are the real experience of those heroes of faith in the Bible. How precious! We can overcome the enemies by faith. I can do the great thing. I can glorify God. What is the most precious is that my spirit is satisfied and will never be thirsty. God delights in me. I can be the closest and the nearest with Him by faith, to live by Him and to walk with Him. Is there anything else that is more content and happier than with the Lord? It's so precious. Our faith can captivate the Lord's heart. In Song of Solomon mentioned, we have captivates the Lord's heart with one jewel of our likeness. Even our eyes overwhelm Him. All these are talking about our faith. How can we increase our faith? Of course, we have to draw near the Lord more. Nurture determines a person's character. We shall look into Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith. The Lord is the Lord who has the full confidence. We draw near Him to see His face every day. Then we can get to know Him more. Not that we know Him in words, but we are knowing Him in spirit, and through experience, our faith are firmly established. Brothers and sisters, we shall draw near the Lord well. to be the faithful darling of the Lord in this generation. Let us read the translation again with faith.
By faith, turn from weakness into strength. By faith, shut the lions' mouths. By faith, extinguished all flaming darts of the enemy. By faith, I speak. By faith, out of his heart will flow rivers. By faith, to accomplish the great things. By faith, singing and praising. By faith, glorify God. By faith, receive the promises. By faith, to see God's glory. By faith, receive the abundant supplies. By faith, shall never thirst. By faith, have the exceeding joy. By faith, enjoy the perfect peace. By faith, God delights in us. By faith, walk with the Lord.
Shall we have some time to worship? O Lord, you have defeated the devil on the cross. You have overcome the enemies. We can put our trust in you. We can overcome through you. Lord, may you show us the path of faith in our life. By faith, we are able to turn from weak to strong. By faith, we can accomplish the great thing. O Lord, may you show us there is no fast track or other way. May we trust in your words only. Let us trust in your love wholeheartedly. Let us trust in you only. Lord, may you bless every one of us. Bless our hearts and our minds, like spreading our wings to fly, to please God by faith and walk with you from morning to night by faith. Lord, may you bless us. Brothers and sisters, I hope you can have some time to quiet yourself and draw near the Lord. Let's stop the recording and we'll read the Bible when you're done. Brothers and sisters, we will read in Song of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 1. Shall we read the verse? On my bed by night I sought him, whom my soul loves. I sought him, but found him not. First of all, I'd like to say my heart was very touched when I read this verse. My recipients is different at different period of time. What I enjoy most is that the Lord loves to draw near to those who is weak and those who need God most. His desire is to be close to you and me. This verse talks about the weakness of Christianity, but the Lord does not leave her. You can see her weakness by the particulars of this verse. Hence, I'd like to explain some things about this verse first. And then I will share my impression. Here it mentioned, on my bed by night. It is not just one night, but few nights, or even the consecutive nights. The darling felt she was so far away from the Lord. Seemed the presence of the Lord is gone. She couldn't enjoy the Lord. She thought of those days without the Lord. It was pitiful, lonely, and so helpless as well. She didn't know what to do. She even cried out for the Lord. But she found the Lord has no response at all. I had the wonderful feeling in drawing near the Lord when I was a young believer. It was so sweet, and I enjoyed very much. But it also happened to me that all of a sudden I felt the Lord was far away from me. It really depends on my feeling and emotion. And truly I was weak and failed. Then I thought I had let the Lord down. I thought his presence was not with me any more. I didn't know how to exercise my faith, and sometimes I found it was better all of a sudden. The Lord was with me closely, and I really want to get hold of him and wouldn't want him to leave. For I really want the feeling of his presence could last. In fact, I didn't feel so happy or so enjoyable for this pattern of going up and down. My spirit couldn't track on my high places, and I didn't know how to exercise faith. And the verse mentioned the darling is on her bed by night. Seemed she couldn't sleep. Generally speaking, we are working at daytime and sleeping at night. The darling is on her bed, but her heart is restless. She missed her beloved. Her mind may be wandering around. The darkness in her mind is more difficult to deal than long dark night. She felt that her beloved has left her, and she also thought, why did her beloved leave? Our hearts may ask the Lord, Lord, where are you? When we are facing our night, oh Lord, why didn't you come and help me? Or we may have doubts that, Lord, don't you care about me any more? Do you not love me any more? Is it because of my weakness, so you're away from me? I have many doubts in my heart. I don't have the answers. Seemed the Lord is not around. I couldn't feel his presence and lost his blessing. All these are very painful to a Christian. This verse is very funny. It mentioned darling was on her bed and sought him whom her soul loves. How you can find someone you want on your bed? If your lack of motivation for your work, or if your lack of action for your dream, then it is the weakness. I believe you and I have experienced before. We know that we have to draw near the Lord, but we have no strength. Yet we don't want to draw near the Lord. What I want to say is, we are tricked by the enemies. But sometimes we didn't exercise our faith. We couldn't experience and enjoy the Lord, and it has nothing to do with the Lord. Sometimes the presence of the Lord is obvious, but sometimes it is hidden. No matter what, he will not leave us. We shall not depend on our feelings. Sometimes, when we don't feel like drawing near the Lord, the more we shall think of his presence with us. His name is Emmanuel. He will never leave us. Sometimes our feeling is better, but we don't feel good, and we shouldn't be tricked by the feeling. He didn't take away his presence. His spirit dwells in our hearts forever. He has united with us. Having said that, I hope you don't misunderstand that we don't need the feeling, but we shall not be guided by our feeling. Then what shall we guide by? We shall guide by the truth. Our faith shall see this truth. Then we are motivated to go forward. Our living in everyday life and our feelings to follow afterwards. I'm grateful to the Lord as I follow him all these years. I had the feeling of not wanting to draw near him, so I was getting slack and let it be. But on the other hand, I couldn't guide by my feeling, and sometimes these feelings come from the enemies. You feel down for no reason at all. We wouldn't want our life are driven by the enemies, for they want to stop us to come before the Lord, or even we don't or dare not to come before the Lord. Hence, we are fooled, or we try to analyze the problems or mess around with it. The aim is to delay you to come before the Lord at once. As soon as we put our trust in the Lord, then our spirits are in harmony with him, and this is peace. As a result, our spirits can come to him and be close to him. Thus, we can enjoy and experience him. We are not relied on our feelings. I'm so different compared between the past and present. No longer I find the Lord is flattering. I didn't know where to look for him. But now I can say I can draw near him 24 hours a day. The feeling of comes and goes, blow hot and cold, have gone. Truly I can enjoy deeply his closeness with me at any time. I can experience he is so real to me. It's so happy. No longer I was driven by my feeling, but I firmly believed and understand that he is loving me with his highest love. He is enjoying being with me. His desire and his admiration are for me. Hence, I was so touched by these words. This is only the first verse, and if you read further, then you know the beloved didn't leave her at all. Just she went into the wrong direction. She didn't know the way. These also reminded me some of my experience. I came into contact with many Christians in other denominations. There are a lot of them who love the Lord and the church, but they are not satisfied deep in their hearts. They couldn't experience the Lord deeply, and their friendship and relationship with the Lord are shallow, or even they were tricked by the devil. They have the wrong understanding towards the Lord. They didn't know the Lord is their true beloved. When I came into contact with these brothers and sisters, we talked about our experience and what we saw. When I told them the Lord is our beloved and we are the Lord's love, seemed they overjoyed as if gaining the most precious treasure, a great discovery. Their spirits have set free and enjoy the Lord more. Brothers and sisters, the Lord has not changed at all. Just we're looking for the Lord and draw near him, to experience him. But the way we look for the Lord was wrong, and that's why we couldn't enjoy and experience him deeper. I'm gracious to the Lord that we were given a correct path, and we treasure to draw near him. We know how to draw near him 24 hours a day. We have a way and direction of drawing near the Lord, and we know the heart of the Lord. We shall give thanks to him. There is one more thing I'd like to share with you. I mentioned before, Song of Solomon is about the process of the spiritual growth of Christianity. Our experience can make us grow. I won't be very mature all of a sudden, but we have to experience him continually, and it takes time to be seasoned and understand his heart well. Therefore, we don't have to be scared of the obstacles in our life, or even our weaknesses. The most important is we are willing to put our trust in the Lord. Just as I mentioned, I have a strong impression of these words. The Lord loves to stay close to those who is weak. That means those who is willing to humble themselves, who is willing to rely on the Lord, and those who is willing to seek him. For the more you know your weakness, the more you're willing to put your trust in the Lord. There are many books which teach you to have self-confidence. Do not be afraid. Do not expose your weakness. But what I like to say it sounds quite right. But what is the teaching from the Bible? Paul said, "Who is weak? And I am not weak." And he also said, "Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses." He was brave enough to say that he was weak. Thus, he put his trust in the grace of God, for he believed the grace of God was sufficient, and he believed the power of God is made perfect in weakness. That meant he put his trust in the love of God, whom makes all things work together, and he believed God is holding all the authority for him. When Paul boasted of his weakness, the power of Christ might rest upon him. I found there is a saying so true. If your talents are the gift from God, then I believe my weaknesses are also given by God, for he wants me to put my trust in him. What I said my weakness is not the wrongdoing. Every one of us has different kinds of weakness, whether it is the weakness physically or emotionally. We have many weak points or defects, but we shall never be afraid or step back. Someone said, all the spiritual great men are the weak. Moses had his weakness. He was bad in temper, but God made Moses to be very meek, more than all people who were on the face of the earth. That's awesome. Abraham, who addressed his wife as his sister in order to protect himself, but God made him to be the father of faith. And God made David, who committed adultery, became the man after God's heart. John, who was son of thunder, but he became the apostle of love. In the letter to Hebrews mentioned Samson, Gideon, David, Samuel, and many prophets. They were weak, but became strong. As you can imagine, if we don't have faith in God honestly, then that's really terrible. Brothers and sisters, we shall be humble, for God gives grace to the humble, but opposes the proud. God has needs of our merits, for God gives grace to the humble, but opposes the proud. One of my concepts has changed. We may always think God has needs of our gift, merits, or strength. It's true, but not only God has needs of our merits, He makes use of our weaknesses as well. If we're willing to admit our weaknesses and trust in Him, then God can do the greatest work upon us. I have a lot of weaknesses. Whom I need most is the Lord. Brothers and sisters, I hope you have time to quiet yourself and draw near the Lord. You can share to the Lord your weaknesses. You may notice your weakness is also your charm. The Lord is so smart. He knows how to appreciate you. It is the most precious moment for you to draw near the Lord alone. May you enjoy and experience Him deeply. You seek Him, and surely you will find Him. May the Lord bless you.